Interesting. Okay. And what was it? Tell me what happened. Did you get injured?
I was a former athlete in the loose sense of the term. Just and tried all like just caught was playing basketball one day and caught a knee. Tried all the recovery methods of like foam rolling and ice cups, and a lacrosse ball. None of them gave me the relief I was looking for. So I was like,
Okay.
how can I make all three of these products? What are the biggest problems with all three of them? And
Mm.
then that's how I was able to create the first product with the cryosphere.
By yourself? Walk us through. How were you just like? Was it you? You're like you're drawing this up, or talk to me. How did you do that?
Um, I just kind of wung it. I think that's a big thing in entrepreneurship that you see. Everyone's like, how do you start? How do you start? There's no right answer. Just try.
Right.
That's
Mm.
the way you start. But I got a stainless steel ball with from China, drilled a hole in it, filled it with gel, and then got a sprinkler cap from Home Depot and just tried out the methodology. It was like, okay, this works. How do I make it way better? And that's how it started. It was an $8 prototype.
Were you always creative like that? Was that your nature?
Yeah, I always solved my own problems
Okay.
as a
Okay.
kid. And that
Okay.
definitely derives from my dad. Like he would always create stuff, always grew up watching him and try to invent things. But I realized I'd solved my own problems. And when I got in trouble and got grounded, I didn't want to watch TV or play video games. So I would do random, like build things to occupy my time.
Sorry. So you get this ball. You get this ball. You're making this now. At the same time, are you going online and trying to find like competitors or similar product? Are you doing your homework on all that at the same time?
Yeah, I am. Once I started creating it and then got it tested out by some trainers just to see if they like the concept, I was starting to sell them, hand make them, but then I was doing research at the time because the thing is like people get so bogged down and look for an excuse not to do stuff. So
Right.
I didn't want to put that barrier in between me and what I was doing at the time. So I wanted to get traction and like see if it actually worked, and then dove into the other side.
Which I think which is exactly what you should do. Great advice for the listeners. Now, so let me make sure I understand. You built some prototypes on your own, very low cost, so low cost to get these things built, and then you called trainers you knew. Did you like knock on doors? Did you have these relationships? Did you have these relationships, or how did
uh,
you? Yeah, talk to me.
N- None of that. I built it without any relationships. I literally just emailed trainers in Colorado. Was like, hey, I have an idea. I have a terrible prototype, but do you have like 5 minutes of your time? Tell me if it's gonna work or not. And like, luckily, the first guy his name was Robin Balkenbruh. He was at Purdue as assistant athletic director, pretty big resume, and then he ended up going to Chauncey Billups D1. And he believed it. Was like, I like the concept. He's like, I hate the prototype. I love the concept. And so what I kept doing was calling and emailing, and people just wouldn't respond. So I would show up and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I've emailed you a bunch of times.
Okay, now let me
And
let me take a pause right there because this is great for the entrepreneurs that want to get started. I love this about it. So hustle, right? Here's the first hustle sign, right? So, but by the way, how'd you get these lists? Were you just like on Google, like looking up trainer list? How did you get the numbers and the emails?
yeah, just through Google searching like
How about
athletic
that?
trainers in Colorado.
Now, are you in the parking lot waiting for the trainer to like walk out of the gym and like, hey, John, how'd you do this?
No, I would actually just show up and knock on the
Uh,
door, and just say, "Hey, I've emailed you a couple of times. Like, do you have 5 minutes?" And they'd say, "I have one client. Like, come back later." I was like, "Oh, I'll just wait," and I would sit there and wait until they had to meet with me.
Love it, bro. And then you did your pitch and handed them a sample and said, "Hey, use it. I just want to know, no cost to you whatsoever. I just want your opinion on it."
Yeah. So actually, the first prototype, I only had one because I was poor. I was a broke college kid living back at home, student debt, all of that fun stuff. And so I was like, hey, I just give me your opinion about it. And then and then once I did that and I got enough proof that they liked it, I went and started figuring out how can I hand make them, how can I produce things in low quantities and give them to them. So
I
then
see.
once I did that, I went back and like gave them iteration after iteration for feedback, and was able to keep growing from there and make
Now,
the
did you
product better.
Did you have your LLC? I mean, was there an official company set up at this point or not? Not yet.
Not yet. It
Okay.
was started in January, and we didn't get our LLC until like June.
When you were handing out these samples, were you worried they were going to like copy it or like take your idea? Were you making them sign NDAs, anything like that?
No, because you'll get laughed out of the room, and like, hey, sign this NDA for me to pitch you a product. Like, no, it was so bad and ugly. Like, there's no way that they're gonna take this. And I was like, I'm not looking for that. I'm just looking for proof of concept.
Proof of
And
concept.
yeah, and that's what I think a lot of people need to do is don't go to your friends and family because you always have a good idea. Go to random people. They'll tell you if your idea sucks or not.
I think that's great advice. Let's take a pause right there for the listeners. Wonderful advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. Several things you're hearing here from Matt. Number one, I didn't even have my LLC set up. I had an idea. I'm looking to see if other people like it, and I need to get some feedback on it. I'm trying to do proof of concept. So I'm not going to worry about setting all this crap up. I just want to even see if people like this first. Love that. You also didn't worry about, oh, I got to protect it and the, NDAs and all this other stuff. You're like, I'm not doing any of that. I want to see if anybody uses this and anybody likes it. And if they do, then I'll worry about the other stuff. I think that's great. I think more entrepreneurs should do that. I think a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs and co-founders, they spend way too much time trying to set a bunch of crap up and spending money on lawyers for paperwork and, trying to draw up a 5-year financial model when they haven't even handed their product to anybody to see if they like it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of crazy. You see people raising millions of dollars or like going out and they don't even have a product. Like it's just a slideshow. Like, nah, go back and like create a product. See if it's good. See if people actually like it.
I think that's awesome advice. Okay. So by the way, how are you living and paying the bills at that point? A little support from the parents. Is that how you're surviving and eating? Okay.
Yeah. So moved back home with my parents. Food and all that was paid for. And then I was actually working a job. I was working as a bar back at night. I'd run the business during the day and then work at night.
See, now that's hustle, everybody. Hustle. He's working at the bar at night, and during the day, he's like hunting down trainers and like knocking on their door and saying, hey, try my product. I love that, man. That is a great story. By the way, are you handing the sample across the bar to the patrons and saying, hey, try this. Tell me what you think?
No, I was actually just trying to be as super nice as I could so I could get more money from them and increase tips so I could get out of there sooner.
The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviews. Our show can be heard just about anywhere these days, but you can visit riderflex.com and click on the podcast page to hear all the previous episodes and learn more about the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Contact us at the email address info@riderflex.com or 888-964-5876. Thanks so much for listening, and if you enjoy our show, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes.